All right, welcome to Let's Talk Cinema. We're back here, all new time, all new day. We're here on Wednesday afternoon, but yeah, so a lot to talk about this week. Of course, the Oscars Sunday. We got a couple new trailers now out this week, or I guess one of them was last week, right? And then one of them just came out yesterday.
Yeah.
And yeah, so we'll definitely talk about all of that. We'll spend a lot of time on the Oscars, I suppose, and a couple other news topics as well for this week. And yeah, good to have you back, Greg. Just off the top, though, quickly, because I know I talked about the Frozen 2 trailer in last episode, and I said I would get your thoughts on it. So, what do you think of the Frozen 2 trailer, just quickly? And are you looking forward to the second movie? Because I know you watched the first one.
Yeah, I think we'll have to see if it's as big of a phenomenon as the first one, right? But yeah, I think any animated movie that has a really good that has a really good first movie, always kind of look forward to the sequel, see what they can do with that. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like a huge trailer. It didn't reveal like any plot points or anything. It's just kind of we just kind of get a look at the characters, see them together. But yeah, I'll be excited to see if they can get another "Let It Go" song for the second one. And,
exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
Yep. Yeah, no, I thought it was a good trailer. A lot of people were talking about them releasing it just because of Aladdin, and they kind of outroar about that, and we talked about that a couple weeks ago as well. But yeah, just interesting stuff. So anyways, let's jump right in then to our box office, and we'll try to be quick with this one because I know, like I said, we have a lot to talk about, and we don't want to go too long. So anyways, so here are the top 6 performers from this weekend's box office. Here the old chart provided by Box Office Mojo, of course. So no big surprise. We had one big movie opening this weekend, and obviously it was at number 1. So How to Train Your Dragon, number 3, The Hidden World, came in at $55 million for their opening weekend, which is the best opening weekend so far in 2019. Number 2, Alita Battle Angel at $12 million in their second week. Number 3, The Lego Movie 2, the second part, at $9.6 million. Fighting with My Family, which technically opened last weekend, but really kind of widely opened this weekend, with $7.8 million. Number 5, Isn't It Romantic, the Rebel Wilson comedy, at $7.1 million. And lastly, number 6 is What Men Want, with $5.2 million. I believe Cold Pursuit was number 7. You had The Prodigy at number 8, I believe. A couple others there, but those are the big 6 performers this week, and also Green Book still took in $2 million this week. I don't know, like, is that like weird though? Because they just won Best Picture at the Oscars, and their movie is still playing, and they're still getting $2 million at the box office a week. So it's pretty crazy there, but some great success for them, as we'll talk about. So anyways, so those are the performers there from this weekend's box office. As I mentioned, really only one big movie hitting theaters this weekend, and that was How to Train Your Dragon 3. So with an estimated $55.5 million, Universal's release of DreamWorks animation How to Train Your Dragon, The Hidden World, delivered not only the number 1 movie at this weekend's box office, but the largest debut of the year, as I mentioned, surpassing Glass, right? So the opening is also the largest debut in the How to Train Your Dragon franchise, topping the $49.4 million opening for the number 2, the part 2, back in 2014. And like its predecessor, Hidden World received an A cinema score and was well received by critics, earning a 91% on Rotten Tomatoes. Of course, I want to touch on this as well, but yeah, so that is pretty big news so far in the context of what we've seen so far this year at the box office. But I also want to get your thoughts on this one as well, which is the Rotten Tomatoes score, but also a lot of people now talking about it as the best animated trilogy right now, and I don't know if I agree with that. I think it's kind of getting overhyped just with some recency bias right now. But what are your thoughts on that one?
I mean, I've only seen the first one, and I saw that a long time ago. But I mean, I think that's, I think you can make an argument, but ultimately, I think it's Toy Story, and I don't think it's, that close.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, there's probably some other ones that I'm just not thinking of, but definitely Toy Story would be the one that sticks out. I'm not sure.
Well, for me,
I mean, even if
For me, I was
if
even going to bring up, I mean, if you want to talk about DreamWorks animation, Shrek, is
Shrek.
that right?
Yeah, I mean,
you
Shrek,
know?
I would say, and then even looking at Toy Story, I mean, the impact Toy Story had on the animation industry is from the, after the first one is huge. And the Toy Story films, I think, have a lot more depth to them, like a lot of Pixar films, and span, a much larger timeline, if that means anything. They're able to kind of transcend different generations almost. But yeah, for me, Shrek, I would say Shrek is, and again, without seeing the last two, How to Train Your Dragons, but Shrek, I think is also really good, and yeah, so I mean, you can probably make an argument for it, but I think ultimately, I think you would be hard pressed to say it was better than either two of those franchises.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, there's probably other ones that we're just not thinking of right now.
Right.
I'm trying to think. I mean, well, no, Lion King's really only 2 movies if you want to count the 1.5.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's 3 Cars movies.
Yeah,
I don't know.
True. Yeah,
I don't know if anyone thinks those are good, but
yeah. Well, if all 3 movies were like the same as number 1's quality, maybe. But
yeah.
But it doesn't look like that.
I think there's 3 Madagascars.
That's true.
3
Yep. So I think overall, I mean, I think it's fair. Maybe like you said, you could argue it, and I think it's fair to say it might be in the discussion now. By simply even just looking at the box office numbers as well, I think it's definitely deserves to be in that. But the best, I think that's a bit of a stretch. But anyways, so then we get in second place is Fox the Alita Battle Angel, which managed to outperform expectations last weekend, but the box office weekend this week suffered a pretty big setback. The film dipped a minus 58% from last week. So of course, you're going to have a drop, but 58 is a pretty significant drop. Internationally, the film fared a bit better, debuting in China this weekend with an estimated 62.2 million, which contributed to a significant portion of its overall 92.4 million it made internationally this weekend, compared to what was it on there, like 12 million domestic. So at this point, Alita has brought in over 202 million internationally for a global total of 263. So it seems like it's doing, really well internationally, which we knew it kind of would. We knew it was that kind of movie. You and I even talked about that a couple weeks ago before it came out. And it looks like it's kind of fizzling out domestically. The reviews have been, I would kind of err on the side of they've been pretty good. But definitely mixed, right? I think, it's about a 60% or something like that on Rotten Tomatoes right now. I'm not sure about Metacritic. But yeah, so I think it's fair to say that they've been mixed. But I would say they've been kind of leaning positive so far. But yeah, so that'll be one to watch too. We'll see, how they do next weekend then as well. And I know you want to get a chance, or you're hopefully going to get a chance to see that and give us your thoughts on that one. But then we get, after opening in 4 theaters last weekend, Fighting with My Family expanded into 2,711 locations this weekend and delivered only an $8 million performance. The film currently has a 91. This totally surprised me. I didn't realize this, but a 91% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 70 on Metacritic, which is, that's pretty significant. And so, to you, I mean, I'm guessing you probably saw the trailers. They've been they've been everywhere. Yeah. Does this surprise you? A 91 and a 70 on Rotten Tomatoes and Metacritic?
I thought the trailer looked pretty interesting. Kind of a fresh idea for a comedy. And I mean, it's hard to tell the quality of a comedy based on its trailer sometimes, but to me, it just looked like something really new and something that, hadn't really been done. You know what I mean? And especially with WWE being kind of the sole focus of the movie. I mean, it's good for them. I think it's a true story as well. So that also probably adds something to it.
Well, yeah, and I was a bit surprised by this box office because, you have, The Rock is in it. You have Vince Vaughn, although I think it's small parts for both of them. But then you have, I'm forgetting his name right now. They kind of is he Irish? The the he has like the mohawk in the trailers too. Um,
Yeah, I can't remember what his name is. I know who
yeah.
you're talking about.
Anyways, and so, you know, he's pretty popular. So I was a bit surprised by the box office performance, but yeah, I mean, to me, I kind of agree with you. I think the trailers were definitely unique, but I didn't think this movie would be anything. You know, I thought it'd be a decent comedy, but I didn't think a 91 Rotten Tomatoes, you know, that good. But yeah, a lot of people are just maybe it's the uniqueness of it, and all that, and you know, it's kind of hard to tell from the trailers, like you said, sometimes, because some of these comedies, you know, like Holmes and Watson, for example, they put literally all their best stuff in this trailer,
Yeah.
and then you go and see the movie, and you're like, oh well, I already saw, you know, all the best parts,
Yeah.
right?
And I mean, best is kind of a generous term for what it was.
yeah, what worst movie of the year or something, right? At the
Yeah.
the Razzie Awards or something. So, anyways, so yeah, I just think that one's interesting. I know a lot of people have gone to seen it. That I've seen. I've seen some people talking about it. So yeah, interesting stuff. So then next weekend we see the release of two smaller movies, which is the thriller Greta. I'm not sure if you've heard of that one quite yet. And then also Tyler Perry returning with the latest Medea feature. I think that's and then it's called a Medea Family Funeral. That's the other one coming out. So nothing too big. Of course, then we're getting to March, and we have, you know, Captain Marvel coming, and what else? Us from Jordan Peele is coming out. So a lot of bigger movies coming out in March, and then hopefully this kind of January, February funk, if you will kind of subside. Because, you know, 55 million opening, I mean, that's pretty good for How to Train Your Dragon, but I mean, that's kind of the highest by far so far this year.
Yeah.
And you know, to be expected, it is February. But yeah, so anyways, that is it for the box office then. So we'll look forward to next week. Like I said, really interesting to see where Alita Battle Angel goes, and also How to Train Your Dragon. We'll see how they do in the second week. So, all right. So with that out of the way, let's get to our main topics, I guess, or our news topics. Which, you know, of course, to start off, we'll focus on the Oscars. So first thing though, I wanna read before we get into kind of like, and also what I want to do here too is, I want to, because we did that video or episode a couple of weeks ago, doing our predictions for the Oscars, and so what I want to do is kind of go back on those predictions and you know, see what we got right as well when we're kind of, you know, recapping the results. But before that, I want to just quickly get your thoughts on this one. So we see from TV Line article here. So, and this was all over the place. Oscars rise in ratings for first time in 5 years with hostless telecast. So a lot of people not expecting this kind of thing, right? So they say ratings for the Academy Awards appear to have rebounded in 2019 following 4 straight years of declines. According to very preliminary numbers, Sunday night's host-free, tight and bright 200-minute ABC telecast scored a 21.6 rating in the metered market households. That's up 14% from last year's 18.9. Which marked an all-time low and ultimately translated into the ceremony's smallest audience ever at 26.5 million. So, you know, so you watched the show. What would you attribute to this big rise in ratings this year?
I don't know. Probably no host. That's really the only thing that changed. And I mean, there wasn't even the presenters. I don't think. You know, carried on too long. It was just kind of, you know, announced the nominees and then they showed the winners. There's not a bunch of extra stuff, and that might have had something to do with it. I don't know. Yeah, that's really the only thing they changed. So I think that's probably a fair guess.
Well, and to me, I mean, I don't think many people are talking. Well, I guess some people are talking about it, but to me, it also is probably due to just all this controversy, right? You know, and we talked about this when Kevin Hart stepped down too, and we talked about how his name is, you know, in every headline right now, right? You know, stepping down as an Oscar. It's negative, but it is still a lot of attention. And so I think that may be similar to what happened with the Oscars, where we saw the whole host situation. you know, dating back, we saw the popular film category or whatever. You know, and then we saw just recently, just like a week before the show, they talked about doing, you know, cinematography and editing off air and all that stuff. So all that stuff kind of got blown up on the internet, and everyone was talking about that rather than the actual show. But I think that may actually have been, you know, an effect to the viewers for this one as well. And also, I just think it's a lot, you know, I just felt like this Oscars in particular, compared to previous years, has just been, you know, really mainstream, you know, especially with Black Panther getting nominated. I think that brought in a lot of, you know, comic book fans and a lot of people who, you know, maybe don't necessarily get, you know, represented as much at the Oscars. And I think the no host is a big thing. I think a lot of people went into that. All these people, right, are, you know, all these, you know, I guess critics, if you will, were all saying, you know, how this is, you know, such a bad idea and all this stuff. And it turns out it was to me, this is the best Oscars show in a while, with no host. So, anyways, that's my thought on that one. So yeah, just so you liked it without a host, better than previous years.
I don't know. I mean, it's if they get a good host, and they aren't, you know, just kind of doing political rants during their monologue or whatever. I think a host could be good, and funny, but it's just a matter of picking somebody who will actually do a good job, or at least in my eyes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point. And I think Kevin Hart would have been that. That this year. I think a lot of people, you know, fans of Kevin Hart and you know, I think he's just kind of a likable guy, and you know, and I think he's a really funny guy as well. And I think that would have been a good situation for him. But anyways, we'll have to see in the future if he you know, eventually comes back to host. Probably not in the near future though. All right, so then let's jump in then to the Oscars, kind of recap. So we'll go over all the big categories here. We'll probably stop around cinematography, I'm guessing. Because, you know, we just don't know much about, you know, the other awards, and nobody really pays too much attention to them anyways. So, all right, so let's start with Best Picture. Okay, so our predictions for Best Picture, if I remember correctly, I think we said Green Book, Roma, or A Star Is Born, right? I think those were our three. Because I think you said Roma and A Star Is Born, and then I kind of added Green Book in there. Or maybe the other way around. I don't know. But anyway, so one of those three, of course, got it with Green Book. What did you think of this one? Obviously, I think we were on the same page that it had a good chance to win. Were you surprised that Roma didn't win, though, instead of Green Book?
I thought that Roma would have won. I thought it was Roma and then A Star Is Born. Kind of surprised Green Book won, but yeah, I mean, it was certainly in the running. There was probably three movies that had little or no chance.
Yeah.
And then really the rest of the five had an equal chance. You know, but yeah, I thought it'd be Roma. Green Book, not too surprising, but I thought it was a little bit of an upset. I think Roma was, especially, you know, Alfonso Cuarón winning director and a few other awards. I thought it was kind of
cinematography. Yeah.
I thought it was kind of they're leading up to Roma winning, and then all of a sudden Green Book wins. But yeah.
Yeah, so I think, you know, a few people were surprised, but, you know, obviously Black Panther was not going to win. Some people thought they were. And then I think the ones that we ruled out was Black Panther, Vice, and...
Yeah, and Bohemian Rhapsody.
And Bohemian Rhapsody.
I don't think, none of those had a chance, really.
Yeah. Well, and it was really interesting, though, for Bohemian Rhapsody, because they win the Golden Globe, right? And Rami Malek wins tonight, too, which we'll get to in a moment, but... so that was an interesting one too, but I have to agree. I didn't think that they stood a chance in this year's running for this award. So, all right. So Green Book takes home Best Picture. Best Director, as we just mentioned, Alfonso Cuarón for Roma. You were okay with this one? This was expected.
Yeah. I think if Bradley Cooper had been nominated, I think it would have been one of them. Spike Lee maybe, but I think since Bradley Cooper obviously was not nominated, Cuarón I think was definitely the front runner, and I think pretty much everybody saw that one coming. So.
Yeah, I think he was our sole prediction for that one. I think maybe we passed around Spike Lee Spike Lee's name, but yeah, he was for sure the front runner, and no surprise there. So, best actress in a leading role. This one I think stumped us at least. We said either Glenn Close or Lady Gaga in our predictions, and Olivia Colman ends up winning for The Favorite. So this,
yeah, I think
this was interesting.
That was definitely I think it was a huge upset. I think especially the hype around both Lady Gaga and Glenn Close. I was really surprised that one of them didn't win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, and a bunch of people were talking about before the Oscars how Glenn Close, is it that she's never won an Oscar or something like that? That she's been nominated so many times, she hasn't won, and it's like, it seems like all the time that person wins. Like if they've been there for years and they haven't won yet.
Yeah.
So I thought for sure, like even up to the very second before they announced, I thought, yep, Glenn Close is gonna win. I wanted Lady Gaga to win, just I've seen A Star Is Born and I've seen her performance, but yeah. So I agree with you. I think that was the biggest surprise of the night. I'm fine with it. Like nothing wrong with it, but and I haven't heard that much about The Favorite, but yeah, so I think that was definitely interesting there. I think that was the most off that we were, though, in any of these predictions. So, best actor in a leading role, I think we both agreed on Christian Bale in the video.
Yeah.
Either him or Viggo Mortensen, I think we said. And Rami Malek takes home for Bohemian Rhapsody. Of course, he won the Golden Globe as well. And you thought this one was deserved?
I mean, I haven't seen Bohemian Rhapsody. But I think I thought it would be Christian Bale. Maybe Vigo, maybe Willem Dafoe. He was probably not in more fringe though. I was pretty surprised by Rami Malek winning. What I've heard is that obviously he's amazing, but I haven't seen the movie myself. But yeah, I mean, I think he was. I mean, I think it was deserved from everything I heard, and yeah, it's good for him. I think he's a really good actor.
Yep, and yeah, like, I mean, he won the Golden Globe, and I agree, though. I thought it was definitely going to be Christian Bale, especially the transformation, I think, was the one that really got me, and thought that was going to be what it was. But, again, I think Rami Malek was playing, a kind of a more influential character, if you will, in the context of their movie, at least. And so maybe that, is why. He also did some of the singing in Bohemian Rhapsody. So that might come into it as well. I haven't seen it either. So, but I just thought we both saw Vice, and so I think maybe that's why we went to Christian Bale as well.
Yeah.
But I would have liked to see Bradley Cooper win, but I didn't think that he was really in a contention with these two here. But then we get Best Actress in a Supporting Role. This one was like over before the show even started. And we both said, like, for sure, no other way, it's Regina King from Beale Street Could Talk. And it was. I mean, I don't think she didn't look too surprised. None of the other, actresses looked too surprised. So, yeah. Would have been, interesting to see, an Amy Adams from Vice, Emma Stone and Rachel Weisz, two actresses from The Favorite nominated in this category, but kind of all day it was Regina King. So we got that one right. Best Actor in a Supporting Role. Again, I believe we got this right. Mahershala Ali. I think we both were pretty sold on that. And that's a good one. I mean, and I do find it also interesting that he's now got nominated for 2 Oscars and he's won both. Of course, with Moonlight and now Green Book. So really great to see him, being successful. And I'd like to say that I've seen I think it's the biggest thing that he did first, which is the 4400 television show on NBC. That was like his first big time acting role. And he was great in that. So
he was also in House of Cards.
House of Cards. Yeah, and he got nominated at the Emmys for that, for his guest appearance. I don't think he won that one. And he was just in True Detective season recently, and he'll probably get nominated for an Emmy, or at least he deserves to for that performance. So yeah, really great stuff from Mahershala Ali. Honestly, I mean, I see more Oscars for him in the future. He really is great. And it's tough to see because, like, the 4400, I believe, started in 2004. And so, I mean, he's been, for 15 years, been kind of acting in big things. And it's great to see him getting that recognition now. he's definitely grown as well. I mean, 4400, he definitely was not the same as he is now. But yeah, he's great. So then best original song. This one is usually not that big of a category, but for this year, for Shallow, of course, from A Star Is Born, everyone kind of lost it, especially the performance with Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga. So obviously that one won. Of course, we kind of placed our bets, if you will, on that one as well for that one. And yeah, a lot of people like that performance. What do you think of that performance there for Shallow?
Yeah, it was fine. I don't know. I haven't seen the movie or anything, but yeah, it was cool, I guess.
Yeah, the only thing that I would say about it is, I like the performance, and everyone's freaking out about the two of them. I guess sitting on the piano or something like that. But my biggest thing was like, because Bradley Cooper, of course, does this, really low voice. Like he lowers his voice significantly. Because he's actually attempting, I think, to sound like Sam Elliott. That's kind of where he went, because they're brothers, of course, in the movie. So, and he didn't even like attempt to do that voice here in this performance. And he just seemed really kind of off tune. And of course, he's not a singer, right? So it's like it's not really fair to judge. But yeah, I just would have liked it better if he kind of, put an effort into doing that voice again. But we can always listen to it online, I guess, if we want to hear that. But
yeah, I think it was kind of awkward for his girlfriend or his wife or whatever.
Yeah.
Having to just watch that. The internet obviously was talking about that.
Yeah. No, yeah, for sure. Yeah, that was definitely part of the discussion there. And then best original screenplay, we got Green Book. To be honest, I don't remember which one we said for this one.
I think I said Black Klansman.
No, but that's best adapted.
Oh, I don't even remember the nominees
for
this one.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I don't know if we even went over this one, because I truly don't remember.
Favorite, maybe, I don't know.
Maybe, or maybe we thought Roma as well. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
You know what though? I'm glad that Vice didn't win. And honestly, I keep saying this, but like I really like Adam McKay. I'm a really big fan of Big Short. Probably one of my favorite movies. And definitely a fair move from him. But like, this movie just didn't deserve to get a screenplay nomination, in my opinion.
Well, I disagree. I think it was actually a pretty good screenplay. I don't think that wasn't really my issue with the movie. I thought there was a lot of good dialogue and honestly a lot of funny moments. So yeah, for me, I don't know. I mean, it's tough to. Would I not have nominated something over it? But I thought it was a good screenplay, actually.
Well, but then you talk about moments like that Shakespeare little thing that breaks out, and
yeah, I mean, look, for me that's more that's just a kind of a mess up a mess. What word am I looking for here? That's not really a screenplay thing. That's more for me like kind of a tone thing, and maybe you can attribute that to the screenplay, but I think I didn't actually hate that part. It was just that it kind of felt out of place, tone-wise.
Yeah, no, you make a good point. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Anyway, I thought it definitely had good moments. But yeah.
Yeah, no, you make a good point. So maybe that boils down more to direction, film editing, stuff like that. Yeah. No, yeah. But yeah, and I mean, I mean, if we're talking about best original screenplay, it definitely was original. Like there was some great stuff in there for sure. But yeah. So then we get the best adapted. So this is what, and we both, I think we both said Black Klansman. I think we said that there was a chance for A Star Is Born in there. If Beale Street Could Talk was also kind of a big one there. But yeah, Black Klansman wins this one. I think it was their only win of the whole Oscars. I could be wrong. They may have gotten like a small category. But yeah.
Well, didn't Spike Lee win? Or no, never mind. That was screenplay. Never mind.
Yeah, right. And he won for screenplay. And it's great to see Spike Lee finally wins an Oscar like that. But yeah, I was surprised though. I thought that they may take home some other smaller ones as well. Adam Driver gets nominated for supporting actor. So, and unfortunately, I didn't think he had a chance compared to Marshall Lee. But yeah. All right, so last couple ones here. So best original score went to Black Panther. I think I don't remember which one we picked, but I think we were leaning Mary Poppins Returns, Black Klansman. I think in that area. I don't think we picked Black Panther. But yeah, you've seen that movie. What do you think of that award there, best original score?
Was it? I thought it was soundtrack.
Oh
Or
no,
what was the score?
yeah, it's just score.
I don't really. Yeah, I don't remember the score all that much. I honestly, the soundtrack, at least some of the, like All the Stars, some other. I think Kendrick Lamar did the album for the soundtrack. So I don't really remember the score all that much. To be honest.
Okay, yeah. But yeah, so they won for that one. Of course, best foreign language film. This was kind of a joke that they even announced this one, but of course Roma won. And so that's the other thing too that some people are talking about is that, you know, after it won best foreign language film, a lot of people thought that the Oscars were not then going to give it best picture as well, right? Because I don't know. I mean, that's fine. It just would have been a little bit weird, right? To have them win best foreign language film and then also best picture. But I don't know. I mean, that's just what some people said, how you know, then they thought that it definitely wouldn't win after they got best foreign language film. And some people thought they may have given it then to Cold War, one of these other ones, and then gave them best picture. But anyways, just kind of an interesting thing to think about there for that. And then best animated feature film, I was saying Incredibles 2. Even though I knew all the buzz for Spider-Man, I thought they're going to go with the Disney one, right? They're going to go with Incredibles 2, but Spider-Man and Spider-Verse takes it home. And just notable, this is the first time that Disney has not won Best Animated Feature Film since 2006. 2006. Yeah. So
when it was when they had a nominated movie.
Yes, sorry, yeah.
I think one year they didn't, I think.
Yeah, no, you're right, yeah. But yeah, I mean, just crazy stuff. And that's honestly why I thought Incredibles 2 would win. I thought for sure, I know Spider-Man, you know, in the Spider-Verse, you know, very hyped as well, and I think better critic ratings too. But yeah, turns out that Spider-Man and the Spider-Verse takes it home. And, you know, obviously I think that also speaks to the uniqueness of the film, something that not a lot of, or I guess it never has really been done before, some of the stuff in that movie. And that's, Oscars always kind of recognize some of that stuff. You know,
yeah.
so
I think it was, I just think it was better, but.
Well, yeah, you saw both. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then a couple smaller ones here. Best makeup, Vice. Definitely agree with that one. Yeah, definitely agree with that one. I think it was really good. Just Christian Bale's kind of transformation alone, I think would be good enough to win them a makeup award there for that. Best costume design went to Black Panther. I think some people were thinking the favorite along those lines as well, because they had some really elaborate costumes. But yeah, Black Panther takes that one home. Production design, Black Panther also wins. So Black Panther takes home 3 Oscars this year. Of course, all smaller categories though for this one. And then one of the last big ones here is best cinematography, which Roma wins and Alfonso Cuarón wins. So I just want to acknowledge this because last episode I did a little segment, who will be the biggest winner at the Oscars, you know, my prediction, and I said Alfonso Cuarón. So let's just recap. So he won Best Director, Best Cinematography, because he did both by himself, and then also Best Foreign Film. So he won 3 Oscars. Is that it? I feel like they won more.
I don't know.
I think just himself, you know, as an individual, took home 3 Oscars. So I don't think any other individual came close to that. If I'm getting it correct, Green Book, Peter Farrelly won the screenplay and the best picture, but that was it. He didn't get 3. So really interesting stuff there. Great year for Alfonso Cuarón. It was also, I really liked the moment as well when they brought Guillermo del Toro out. And he ended up presenting Alfonso Cuarón with that director award. That was a really great moment as well. And also, didn't they say something about that the last 3 directors were all Mexican directors that won. I can't remember who the third one was though for that. Best director. So that was the year that La La Land was in there, right? With La La Land, Moonlight, so I wonder who won that one. Should I search that up just real fast?
Yeah, I don't remember. Yeah, I don't. I think Barry Jenkins for Moonlight might have won Best Director.
Okay, yeah. We'll take a look
That
here.
or Damien Chazelle for La La Land probably.
Well, that's what I thought too, but then that wouldn't really make sense. So I don't know.
I thought they were talking about foreign. I thought they were talking about foreign film though.
Maybe. Yeah, Damien Chazelle did take it home, for La La Land, and then oh yeah, that was the big year of La La Land wins Best Picture. Oh no, wait, Moonlight does.
Yeah.
One of those. And yeah, Mel Gibson got nominated. Denis Villeneuve for Arrival. Barry Jenkins, he got nominated for sure. So, yeah. Anyway, so it was just kind of a nice moment there to see Guillermo del Toro and Alfonso Cuarón up there. So, anyways, and of course Guillermo del Toro won for Shape of Water last year. So, all right. So let's move on from the Oscars talk. Now let's talk about the Rocketman official trailer. So the first trailer that we've seen so far was released, I believe it was last week around Wednesday or Thursday time. So we're just getting around to this one. But you saw the trailer. I think we both talked about that. We were pretty hyped for this. We're looking forward to it. What were your thoughts on this trailer?
Yeah, I think obviously gonna have great music. Yeah, I think what's his name, Taron Egerton. I don't think he's looks exactly like Elton John, but I think the costume and stuff look good. The makeup should be a really kind of Bohemian Rhapsody-ish movie with obviously a major star and then a bunch of their music. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see what the movie's like. But yeah, it looked pretty good.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the trailer. I thought it showed, it didn't show too much, but I think it showed, quite enough. The music in it was just kind of, was awesome, actually, the way that they kind of, I think it was like 3 of the big songs. They had Tiny Dancer in there, Benny and the Jets, and Rocketman, of course. And just, hearing those in the background and then seeing some of the performances it looked like with Taron Egerton, and the one moment where he's wearing that kind of, really big, is it the baseball player costume or something? And he has the big shoes on and he's trying to play the piano. Just some really, cool moments in there. And then also the way that they are kind of showing that they're going to show a little bit of the background and how he kind of got to where he was at. Not just, of course, in a way, kind of an origin story, if you will, about it. So, yeah, I actually really liked it. Like you said, Taron Egerton doesn't look exactly like Elton John. I haven't seen really pictures of Elton John when he was that age. But yeah, I don't know the comparison. But I think he's going to do great, though. For sure. I think he's and it looks like he's really invested. Like his voice for it too is a little bit different, and yeah, it just looks like an awesome fun time, especially for Elton John fans of his music. It's gonna be I think it's gonna be really great. I also saw a little article a couple days ago how Elton John has said he really likes the movie. So that's always a good thing. Yeah. That's always a good thing when you the subject of your movie actually appreciates it and actually thinks it's good. Of course, we've seen in the past otherwise. So yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to it. I don't know if it's gonna get the same, I don't get me wrong, I get your comparison Bohemian Rhapsody, but I don't know that it'll get Oscar buzz or anything like that. Obviously not to the same level, I don't think, this movie, but still looks really great. And this trailer I thought was actually really, really quite good for the first trailer. So we'll probably get another trailer, maybe another 2 trailers before this one comes out. I believe it's May, and so for sure we'll look for those as well. But yeah, it's gonna be pretty awesome to see this Elton John movie. So there you go. So those are our thoughts on the Rocketman trailer. And then next we have another trailer here, and this one was just released yesterday. So this is kind of, topical news here. And this one is the new trailer released for Pokemon Detective Pikachu. So this is the second trailer that we've gotten. And you and I were talking about this before. I would say that about the first minute of it is mostly all the same stuff that we saw in number 1. But the second half of this trailer I thought was actually quite different. It showed us actually some really interesting parts of the movie, and this one was a little bit more kind of showing us more of the story rather than setting up these characters, how they found each other like the first trailer. And so, but before we get to the talk about the trailer and you know, definitely get your thoughts on it, I just want to show this as well because this got released with the trailer. And so this is the brand new poster that they got for Pokemon Detective Pikachu up on the screen. So of course Ryan Reynolds, Justice Smith up there in the corner. So May 10th is the time this one comes out, and I think that's a really awesome poster there. Yeah. I think it just looks really cool with the colors and the sign up there and Pikachu, of course, wearing the suit. So it looks really cool. But anyways, so what were your thoughts then of the Pokemon Detective Pikachu second trailer? And also, like, you saw the first one, so yeah, you know, maybe talk about the comparing the two as well.
Yeah, I mean, like what you said, about a minute of it or whatever, about the same. Yeah, I think it looks cool. I think it's definitely a different type of movie. I mean, combining Pikachu with Ryan Reynolds into like some live action detective movie is pretty weird, but obviously a lot of the time weird works. You know, there's a movie made about Lego people, and that did very well and spawned a franchise. So obviously weird works. But yeah, I think it looks cool. We'll have to wait and see what if it can deliver, but it's definitely going to be very hyped, or definitely going to have a lot of hype around it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you know what? After the first trailer, especially like a minute into the first trailer, I'm like, like what is this, right? Like what, you know, I just was not interested in it at all. And it's, you know, to be fair, it's not really a movie that I typically am interested in. You know, with Pokemon kind of live action and stuff, but and then, you know, Justice Smith, to me, the biggest thing I've seen him in is the Fallen Kingdom, right? Jurassic World.
Right.
And I didn't think he was all that good in that movie. Although, I mean, the writing wasn't the best either. So, you know, there's a degree to which, a degree of blame that he deserves. But anyways, so, you know, and of course Ryan Reynolds, great. I mean, he was definitely the highlight of the first trailer. But in this one, I just felt like it was so much better than the first trailer to me, especially the last part. You know, you get to see these other Pokemon come out, and some really funny scenes. You get the last battle scene where Charizard comes out in the kind of fighting arena there, and you get Pikachu. So, and that's something I don't think that we saw much of in the first one, and I don't know why they held that stuff back. You know, especially if they have this. I mean, the movie is coming in May, so they probably didn't want to get too much out. But I saw the first one back when I saw Aquaman in theaters. And so it's been that long since we've had the first one. So anyways, to me, this intro is much better. And I might actually see this because, you know, obviously I have, you know, I know a lot of the stuff about Pokemon, you know, from the, you know, cards and all that stuff. And it honestly just kind of looks cool. Although I don't think that's going to be, you know, the main focus, that you need to be kind of a Pokemon, you know, nerd, if you will, to understand everything. But Ryan Reynolds doing a voice like that, you get, you know, Justice Smith, who we'll see how he performs in this. I just think it sounds really cool. So yeah, I mean, and it definitely could be a complete, you know, fail. Like I thought it might have been on the offset, but with this trailer, I think it looks pretty interesting. But anyway, so we'll have to see. I know that you said it was a little weird that Ryan Reynolds was in that role, and that you're a little bit skeptical on, you know, whether he can pull something like that off, right? I think you said some Ryan Reynolds with PG just doesn't work.
Yeah, I think a lot of his, I mean, just look at Deadpool, right? Deadpool wouldn't really work if it was PG, because his humor just doesn't lend itself to that, in my opinion. But this is kind of a new challenge for him. But I think he can definitely, I think he can definitely do it. We'll just have to see if it works.
Yeah, yep, for sure. So I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully we'll get another trailer, another teaser before May 10th. Yeah, that poster looks pretty cool as well. So anyways, guys, let us know what your thoughts are on that trailer for Pokemon Detective Pikachu. You know, I know the trailer's getting a lot of buzz, so we'll have to see how that translates to the box office for this one. But anyways, all right, so let's move on. A couple small topics then to wrap up a little bit of the news discussion here. So the first topic, I think these are just kind of interesting ones. And the first one is Ford versus Ferrari. the title of this one is Ford versus Ferrari gets release date, or gets Oscars release date. Movie gets award season release date. So this one is actually really interesting. So this is a Deadline article here. So 20th Century Fox said that it will release. Here we go. Okay, that it will release James Mangold's untitled Ford vs. Ferrari movie on November 15th, 2019, putting it squarely into the Film Awards season corridor. It had been dated for June 28th, and now takes over the mid-month slot previously held by the Kingsman prequel movie. So they moved the Kingsman movie now into June, I believe, and then now the Ford, or at least it's been delayed, and then Ford vs. Ferrari moves into November. So then we get Fox also solidified another 2020 bow, setting a July 3rd release date for the Ryan Reynolds, Sean Levy team up for Free Guy. I haven't heard much about that one. So then Mangold's Ford Ferrari movie stars Matt Damon as Carroll Shelby Carroll, and current Oscar Best Actor nominee Christian Bale, a British driver Ken Miles, and centers on a team of American engineers and designers dispatched by Ford to build a new race car to defeat the perennially dominant Ferrari at the 1966 Le Mans World Championship. So first of all, I mean, you get those two, right? You know, Christian Bale, Christian Bale and Matt Damon. And then, listen to this. So Tracy Letts, John Bernthal, Katrina Balfe, Noah Jupe, Paul Sparks, and Jack McMullen also star in it. And the pick now joins a date that includes New Line's Bill Condon movie, The Good Liar, with Ian McKellen and Helen Mirren. So, the Oscars just finished up, and now we're already talking about possible Oscar movies. Of course, Ian McKellen and Helen Mirren, that sounds a little bit Oscar baity, maybe, especially Bill Condon as well for that one. But what are your just initial thoughts on this one after a brief synopsis, couple actors here? Do you think this is something to think about, especially being moved into that award season?
Yeah, but I mean, look, if you look at a movie like First Man, I mean, that people were labeling that as a Best Picture before it even came out, and then even the time it came out looked very much like an Oscar movie. And then I think it was nominated for 3 Oscars, and they were all kind of like sound or something, like they weren't picture, director, or actor. So it's tough to say what a movie will, what kind of love it'll get from the Oscars. But I mean, definitely that sounds like a very Oscar baity type movie.
Yeah, and it sounds interesting, just the story of it. And I mean, any movie that you're gonna get Matt Damon, Christian Bale, as the co-stars, it's got to be a real big disappointment if it's not gonna at least be in the conversation for the Oscars, for sure. And then you get supporting Tracy Letts. Love him at least on some television shows that I've seen. I haven't really seen a big movie with him in yet. And John Bernthal. Awesome performance in The Punisher, of course, Walking Dead, Katrina Balfe from Outlander. So, the supporting cast is pretty good too. So yeah, I just thought this was an interesting one. Keep our eyes out on this one, of course. But yeah, November, and I just think it's also interesting too because the studio's probably seen this movie now, and they made the decision to move it into award season. So I think that also maybe supports the discussion as well. Seeing that they have that much confidence in this movie, right? So anyways, just some kind of cool stuff there, looking forward for that one. So all right, then let's move on to our last news topic of today. I had to talk about this one. Any news about Will Ferrell? I like to talk about. Love Will Ferrell, and pretty much all of his movies. Night at the Roxbury, I don't tend to like that much. Off the top of my head, that's really the only one that I haven't liked. Anyways, so this one is Will Ferrell to star in new HBO movie about FIFA hustler story. So this is pretty funny. So we get Leslie Headland is returning to direct for HBO Films a picture based on American Huckster, how Chuck Blazer got rich from and sold out the most powerful the most powerful cable in world sports. Will Ferrell is attached to star as Blazer, a hustler from Queens who managed to wheel and deal his way to the top of FIFA, the governing body of soccer, and the most powerful and corrupt sports organization in the world. And then, of course, it's based off the book, obviously, American Huckster. And so, of course, we get, Gary Sanchez goes into the weekend nominated for Best Picture for Vice, right? With McKay up for Best Director and Best Screenplay, which is actually interesting, too, because if Vice had won Best Picture, like Will Ferrell technically, because he's part of the producing of Gary Sanchez, he technically would have, had his name in there for the Best Picture win, because that's the way they go through the producers. So, kind of interesting. But anyways, what are your first thoughts on this movie, and is this something that you'd be interested in to see?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds funny, and Will Ferrell's in it. HBO, I think HBO's had some good made-for-TV movies, biopics, specifically the Joe Paterno one, and then the Bernie Madoff one, which I think were good, but obviously this is a little bit different. This is more of a comedy. Wow, those are definitely more serious movies. Yeah, I mean, Will Ferrell's in it. Sounds like a funny concept. We'll have to see if it delivers. But yeah, it definitely sounds interesting.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it mainly just to, and I'm not sure that it will be Will Ferrell's next movie after Holmes and Watson, but we'll have to see kind of his next one and see a rebound. I think they're talking about a Daddy's Home 3, so we'll have to see if that goes in to production too. And yeah, I mean, like I said, anything with Will Ferrell in it, I'll probably give it a chance. Although I still haven't seen Holmes and Watson. But yeah,
I don't think you need to.
Yeah, exactly, right? So yeah. Anyways, it just sounds like a real funny concept. I mean, that recipe has worked tons of times before, right? You take Will Ferrell, you take a ridiculous concept, and it just turns out to be really, really funny every time, almost, except for Holmes and Watson. But anyways. So yeah, sounds pretty cool. Like you said, the Paterno movie, that one's really great on HBO. I thought that was actually really well done. And then they have a new one coming out. I believe it's OG, I think it's OG with Jeffrey Wright from Westworld. That's coming out just next month in March, and I'm really looking forward to that one as well. But yeah, HBO has been putting together some good movies. Of course, their kind of main flagship is TV shows, and they do great TV shows, Game of Thrones and etc. But yeah, the films have also been doing well for them as well. So anyways, I'll have to see. Of course, this one is just an announcement, so we probably won't see this movie anytime, in the near future, but maybe 2020 down the road we'll take a look. So, anyways, so that just about brings us to the end of the episode. We have no film this week, unfortunately. We neither of us got a chance to see anything. But yeah, you talked about seeing Alita: Battle Angel, and I still want to see Cold Pursuit. So we'll see how that turns out for next week. We'll try to see something that we can talk about. I know there's still a couple Netflix ones out there that I haven't seen, so hopefully we'll take a look at those. Anyways, so that brings us then to the end of the episode here, where we like to go over our question of the week. This was actually quite interesting. Has to do with a little bit about the Oscars. A very, very subjective question. So I'd love to hear your guys' response to this one. And the question is, which actor or director, you can take it both ways, which actor or director without an Oscar nomination do you think deserves one the most? And so the way we're looking at this is we're going to look at individual performances, in movies of a director or actor instead of kind of lifetime. But you can look at it if you want from a lifetime perspective as well. So, you've one or two?
I have a few, but definitely one that I'm pretty strong on.
Okay. Maybe you want to say two, because I have two as well. So you can do your first, and I'll do my two.
All right. So yeah, mine is Jake Gyllenhaal in Nightcrawler. And obviously, probably a lot of people talk about this, and it's honestly one of the better performances I've seen in a movie. I think he's really, really good. And I mean, obviously the screenplay has a really good arc for his character, but I think just it's such a transformative character. It's so out there, and I think he really delivers just an amazing performance with a lot of different levels to it, and it's the type of thing where you're watching him and he's character, and also, I mean, it's just hard to take your eyes off of him. He's just so good, and didn't even get nominated. I think that's pretty outrageous, and yeah, but I think he's really good, and definitely, if you haven't seen that movie, check it out.
Yeah, I think that's one of the bigger ones I think people think about, or especially the ones who've seen Nightcrawler. Yeah, that's a big one. And I mean, if you look back in history, there's, probably huge snubs out there, right? So, for me, the first one I'm going to say is Ben Affleck. And I know he's won some Oscars, but I'm going to say for directing for The Town. So we were talking about this before. The Town it only got nominated for one Oscar, which I believe, maybe Best Picture. I think that's fair to maybe argue about that one. But yeah, it only got one nomination. That was for Jeremy Renner, which was, richly deserved. But yeah, Ben Affleck for directing The Town. I thought I just really liked the film, and I feel like it is, a little bit of something that we've seen before, kind of a bank robber story. But I think it was it was really unique and really kind of personal, focusing on the characters a little bit more, rather than just kind of like the big action heist type of thing. And, him and Jeremy Renner were great. I mean, his acting was great in the movie, too. I don't know if it was quite Oscar-worthy, but his directing, I would say, was. And, in that year, I definitely think he really should have got nominated for directing The Town. And maybe if you want to throw it in Best Picture category as well, for sure. So, what was your second one, then, that you were gonna say?
I think Andrew Garfield in Social Network playing Eduardo Saverin is really good. I mean, I just love the movie, but I think he's excellent, and really, it's an integral part of the movie. I mean, you talk about Jesse Eisenberg, who is obviously amazing, but Andrew Garfield is every bit as important and is really, really good in this movie. And yeah, I think he also should have got a nomination for that.
And it's interesting because Andrew Garfield only, one nomination, and it was Best Lead Actor in Hacksaw Ridge, which I think we both agree that was definitely deserved for that one. So yeah, really interesting one there. I didn't even I've never really heard a lot of talk about that one, but that's definitely a good one. And you were also talking about Jeremy Renner and Wind River, I think, right? That was
sure. I think Wind River even for a Best Picture nominee, Best Cinematography potentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say cinematography, potentially picture, and then I think both Jeremy Renner and Elizabeth Olsen for lead, or however you're gonna, for lead in supporting or whatever, or lead whatever, for that movie, because I think they're both really good.
Oh yeah. And then my last one, it's got to be a very recent example. It's going to be Bradley Cooper for directing for A Star Is Born. I think this is the biggest snub of the nominations for this year's Oscars, and I think a lot of people agree with that one, especially you've seen A Star Is Born. I also think a lot went into this. I mean, it was his debut as a director in a big feature film, and so obviously that's going to play a part. But I really thought that he would get nominated for directing, and I think out of all the categories that he was nominated in, if he got nominated for a director, I think that was maybe his best shot at winning, because I don't think he really stood a chance in actor. I didn't think he stood a chance in the screenplay, Best Picture, and well, they won the original song. But so I really did think that he deserved it. They ended up going with the guy from Cold War over Bradley Cooper, which obviously a lot of people talking about that. But anyways, just would have liked to see him in there in that pool. But yeah, so those are kind of my picks. So yeah, we went over about 5 in there. But I'm sure, obviously, there's some bigger ones out there that you guys can think of as well. But anyways, love to hear your thoughts on that question there. Yeah, Oscars, basically Oscar season is over now. We'll probably get a few more discussions about stuff, in the near future. But for now, that is about it until next February. Yeah, we're looking forward to what movies come out this year. But anyways, guys, that just about does it for this episode of Let's Talk Cinema. Thanks, Greg, for coming along.
Yep.
And yeah, so a couple movies there that we talked about. Greta is coming out next week. But yeah, nothing too big. So the box office, we'll see probably not too many big changes. But yeah, so hopefully some more news, some more trailers come out, and we'll look forward to those for sure. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching this one. really do appreciate it. So, and also the support on the last few too. I want to thank you guys for that one. So, anyways, again, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next week. Hopefully Monday, maybe Tuesday for that one. So, we'll see you guys then.
See you later.